One important literature for followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Hari Bhakti Vilas. So I'm going to describe a little bit what Hari Bhakti Vilas is, and then I'll read to you what Hari Bhakti Vilas writes about Akshaya Tritiya. Hari Bhakti Vilas, in simple terms, is a how-to manual. It is procedures of how to do so many things. How to observe Janmashtami, how to conduct initiations, how to worship deities, how to this, how to that, how to observe Akshaya Tritiya. For Vaishnava, just like yesterday, so many procedures, right? And Brahma Muhurta was really kind and, happy to explain this procedure, that procedure. Many people couldn't catch all of what he said, but he knows what the procedure is and why. And is happy to share it. So there's procedures, one can say rituals, that are observed by Vaishnavas. There are rituals that are observed by others than Vaishnavas, and there are rituals that are observed by Vaishnavas, and specifically there's rituals observed by Gaudiya Vaishnavas. Now the rituals of Gaudiya Vaishnavas very closely resemble the rituals of Sri Vaishnavas. And there's a good reason why. The teachings are very close, and the compiler of Hari Bhakti Vilas was Gopal Bhatta Goswami. So, looking around the room, I'm sure you all know Gopal Bhatta Goswami's history was he was the son of the chief priest in Srirangam, which is a main place of worship for Sri Vaishnavas. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu spent the 4 months of the rainy season literally living in his house, or his father's house, and he became transformed by Lord Chaitanya's association. And Lord Chaitanya instructed him, no, you cannot travel with me. You stay, serve your parents, and when the time comes that you can come to me, you don't come to me, you go to Rupa and Sanatana Goswami, which is what happened. So for a number of years, and the number differs, but something like 20 years, he was living in Srirangam, and as the son of the chief priest, he had access to, not only had access to, he was trained in the rituals of Sri Vaishnavas, and he knew all the mantras, and the tantras, and the this and the that's. And he also, his heart was transformed by the association of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the rest of his life, and his uncle, the rest of his life, 100% devoted to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So one of the things that he did was he began compiling Hari Bhakti Vilas, the how-to manual of how Gaudiya Vaishnavas observe functions, spiritual functions, everything, including Garbhadan Samskara and everything connected to how to observe Ekadasi and everything that Vaishnavas do. In principle, are laid out in Hari Bhakti Vilas. He then took that manuscript when he went to Vrindavan, gave it to Sanatana Goswami, and made a request. Please put this together in a publishable form and don't mention my name. And so both things were done. Sanatana Goswami is officially the presenter, the author, but they were a good team. Gopal Bhatta Goswami. So there's much resemblance of the rituals that you saw yesterday, that are Gaudiya Vaishnava rituals, mantras, etc., that are many cases identical and otherwise quite similar to Sri Vaishnava rituals or mantras and procedures step by step, because they come from the same source, the agamas you heard yesterday, and blended also with the Pancharatrika system, which is the Vaishnava system, but Sri Vaishnavas also observe both. Anyway, here's Hari Bhakti Vilasa's statement. There's 2 pages here. You see there's 5 verses, 6 verses dedicated to Akshaya Tritiya. The Supreme Lord is the benefactor of all kinds of living entities. He created barley on the 3rd day of the bright fortnight of the month of Vishaka. That's Akshaya Tritiya, the 3rd day of the bright fortnight of the month of Vaishaka. The Lord also caused the Ganges, which consists of 3 streams, to appear within this world, descending from Brahmaloka. Now, before it reached Brahmaloka, it came from the Garbhodaka, the Karana ocean, but this is what it says. It went from there to Brahmaloka and then down from Brahmaloka. On the auspicious day of the Ganges appearance, one should offer a yajna tomorrow. By offering barley, I'm sure you'll hear about it a lot tomorrow, offering barley as an oblation, and should also worship Lord Vishnu by offerings of barley items. Next, one should give barley in charity to the Brahmanas and give them food made with barley also on the 3rd day of the bright fortnight of the month of Vaishaka. Treta Yuga began. Religious principles started, and the Pravritti Marg was begun, because this particular day is very dear to Lord Hari. It is known as Akshaya Tritiya. Whatever pious acts one performs on this day, so do lots of pious acts tomorrow, such as taking holy bath, giving charity, offering tarpana or shraddhas, doing japa, or chanting mantras, gives inexhaustible results. Those who perform the worship of Lord Vishnu with barley on this day and perform shraddha to the forefathers are certainly recognized as Vaishnavas, and their lives are glorious. This is Hari Bhakti Vilas. So, aside from Hari Bhakti Vilas, within the world of people that look to the Vedas as authoritative, they see worship of Lord Vishnu is what you do on Akshaya Tritiya. It's a fantastic day to select for the deity installation. Commonly, it's understood this way also. When worshipped on this day, Lord Vishnu fulfills the desires of his devotees, hopefully their spiritual desires, and the goddess Lakshmi bestows upon these devotees wealth and prosperity. It's not necessarily a spiritual desire, but persons who are followers of the Vedas, they also, the Karmakanda followers also, this is Vishnu's day. There's some other days, there's Lord Shiva's day, and some other days, there's others days. You do other things by Karmakanda. But it's the bestowal of benediction and giving charity. There's lots of things about this day. We heard from Hari Bhakti Vilas, the Ganges descends to this material world. More specifically, it descends from Brahmaloka down to the upper regions of this universe. And on this day, it's the appearance day of Lord Parshuram. I'm going quickly because Premananda wanted me to end class on time, so. What's my cutoff time? 8:15?
8:30 is fine.
Huh?
8:30 is fine.
8:30 is fine. I can slow down.
I mean, unless there is some question and answer.
Okay, 8:15. I'll show it for 8:15. The picture is, it's an auspicious day. Here's something else. Vyasadeva commenced dictating Mahabharata to Ganesh on this day. And it's not just coincidence. It's an auspicious day, and on auspicious days, you do auspicious things. And glorification of the personality of Godhead Vishnu on Akshaya Tritiya produces Akshaya results, unlimited results. It is said, it's on this day, Akshaya Tritiya, that Yudhisthira, by offering prayers to the sun god, he received from the sun god the Akshaya Patra. So I'll speak a little bit more about this because I have a little time. When the Pandavas were in the forest, because they're the Pandavas, they're such exalted souls, people would come to pay their respects. And cultured persons, when someone comes to pay respects, you want to give them something. But they didn't have much of anything because they're off in the forest and they lost their kingdom. They didn't have wealth. They didn't have, same thing happened with Ram and Sita. So especially feeding people. So he prayed to the sun god on behalf of Draupadi, and very benevolently the sun god appeared before him and offered him this magic pot. You know the history. You boys know the history? Akshaya Patra? No? Okay, here we go. The benediction given by the sun god was, when Draupadi is cooking using this pot, she can feed unlimited numbers of guests. But when she eats, because she eats last, that's it. The pot isn't going to produce anything more. Does it ring a bell? You've heard this one. No, it's not ringing any bells. Okay. Okay, it's okay. So then what happened? Here's what happened. Many people came, and the magic pot, Akshaya Patra means the pot, and Akshaya means unlimited. She could produce unlimited, just one pot. Pretty cool, ladies. Cook the Sunday feast from Akshaya Patra, and no problem. You don't even have to say how many are coming, because it just keeps producing. Then, this is a Mahabharata story. Many of you know the Mahabharata story, but our kids don't know it, so I'm going to say it. Duryodhana knew of this Akshaya Patra. He knew of the benediction that after Draupadi eats, it won't produce. And Durvasa Muni came to visit Hastinapur. And Duryodhana received him so nicely. Durvasa Muni offered a benediction. Duryodhana's benediction is, please visit the Pandavas in the forest. Start now. Knowing how long it would take to find them in the forest, because he knew that Draupadi would take her meal later in the day, and after that the pot wouldn't produce. So Durvasa Muni, with his 60,000 followers, showed up after Draupadi had taken her meal. Uh-oh. So what to do, because they're in the forest, and so they want to receive him. So they requested him to, please take your bath and we'll prepare something. She consulted her 5 husbands what to do. She is in great anxiety. Some of us know anxiety, but when you're facing Durvasa Muni, you can imagine the anxiety she was experiencing. Not just because he can get angry, because he's a partial incarnation of Lord Shiva, but just, hospitality and what to do, because that was the concern shown in this painting here. So she called out to Krishna. That's what Pandavas do, and Draupadi does, and Kunti does. Krishna came. And what did Krishna say? Does this ring a bell yet? Mahabharata story? No. What did Krishna say? Krishna said, give me something to eat. Oh no. My Akshaya Patra, this magic pot, can't produce anything anymore. So to bring me the pot, you find stuck on the side of the inside of the pot a little piece of shak or spinach. Just give that to me. She looked, sure enough, there was a little piece of spinach. She gave that to Krishna because he asked for it. And when he ate that little piece of spinach, he was fully satisfied because it was prepared with love by Draupadi. So it helps if you have Akshaya Patra, you have to have some love like Draupadi, then it's really good. And when Krishna was satisfied, Durvasa Muni was also fully satisfied. Not only fully satisfied, he didn't eat, but Krishna ate and Krishna was satisfied. So Durvasa Muni felt full. And his 60,000 followers also felt full. He was embarrassed. If I go back to the Pandavas and I'm full, I won't be able to eat, so he didn't go back. Problem solved, right? Satisfying Krishna means problem solved. Do you have a problem? Satisfy Krishna. Whether it's Akshaya Patra or any other circumstance. Because sometimes. You probably everybody in the room, think about it for about half a second. You'll think of something that it's a challenge for you that you're facing, and when you're chanting your japa this morning, your mind is distracted by that challenge that's facing you. Or 2 or 3 or 4. Satisfy Krishna, whether you have an Akshaya Patra or not. That's the message. On this day, according to Shastra, it's the very same day that Krishna appeared to provide unlimited sari for Draupadi. Our young boys over here, you know that story, right? Yes, okay, so I need to repeat it. And there's Krishna. So right in the midst of this public assembly, I don't know what everybody else saw, but Draupadi certainly saw. And Dushasana certainly understood this is magical. So Krishna can do magic. He doesn't need Akshaya Tritiya to do it, but it happened on Akshaya Tritiya. Scripture says the very day that Sudama visited Krishna in Dwaraka was an Akshaya Tritiya. Nice, huh? Very special day. If you want to visit Krishna in Dwaraka, that's pick a good day. And as a result, the goddess of fortune bestowed all kinds of opulence upon Sudama, and Krishna was pleased. This is a painting showing Hayagriva presenting Mula Ramayana to Lord Brahma. What's Mula Ramayana? Mula Ramayana is the original Ramayana from Vishnu, or Hayagriva, presented to Brahma. According to Madhvacharya, the original Ramayana that was presented to Lord Brahma on this day, Akshaya Tritiya, had a lot of verses. How many verses are in Valmiki Ramayana? 24,000. The Mula Ramayana had 1 billion verses. So if you want to go to the spiritual world and read the full Ramayana, that's how many verses you'll have. Or you can ask Lord Brahma, he has it too. And Lord Brahma gave the entire Mula Ramayana to Narada. And Narada gave 24 verses to Vyasa, with the empowerment that he would realize everything. He didn't tell him how many verses to write. And on this day, Akshaya Tritiya day, there's a big festival. Now this is the Rath Yatra festival, but there's another festival besides Rath Yatra festival that's on Akshaya Tritiya day. And here's a description found in Chaitanya Bhagavat, where Bhakti Siddhanta is quoting Skanda Purana. Lord Jagannath ordered his servant, the exalted Vaishnava Sri Indradyumna Dev, to smear fragrant sandalwood paste on his body on the day of Akshaya Tritiya, which occurs during the waxing moon, the third day of the waxing moon of the month of Vaishakha. Following this, even today, Lord Jagannath's Vijay Vigraha, we're going to see a photograph of the deity, it's a brass deity of Madan Mohan, is brought on a palanquin from the temple to Sri Narendra Sarovar every day from Akshaya Tritiya in Vishakha to the 8th day of the waning moon in Jyeshta. So it's a big festival every day, every day, every day. The path that they follow to get to Narendra Sarovar, it's a very celebrated event. During the Chandan Yatra festival of Sri Madan Mohan Dev, he enjoys boat pastimes in the lake, along with his ministers, headed by Lokanath and Mahadev. So here's the deity of Madan Mohan. The deity that's on the altar, along with Lord Jagannath. He is the Utsav or festival Murti, and he's taken in procession, grand procession with his two ministers by the Vaishnavas. It's similar to but different from Rath Yatra. It's not a big cart because he's a much smaller deity. And the three of them are put on boats in Narendra Sarovar, and then the boats ply here and there with music, and look at all those brahmanas chanting. Yesterday was just a few brahmanas. This is boatloads of brahmanas. It must be tumultuous. I've never been there. But a celebrated festival, and they move around, and it goes until night. And in the evening, the deity comes off the boat and goes back to the temple. And then the procession goes again. In honor of this Akshaya Tritiya festival that takes place at Narendra Sarovar, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates celebrating did the same. You know the pastime, splashing and splashing, like little boys. Like little boys, they were little boys. But like little boys, just playing and playing. There you see in the foreground, there's Lord Nityananda and Advaita Acharya splashing each other. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is with Swarup Damodar, and they're chuckling about the playfulness, the abandon of the associates of Mahaprabhu, who are normally very grave and very serene and so forth, on Akshaya Tritiya. It is said this festival also commemorates an event that's found in Mahabharata. In Virat Parva, the fourth section of Mahabharata, it describes the Agyata Vas, or the residence spent in hiding, a period of time when the Pandavas lived incognito with Maharaj Virat in his palace. Each one of the 5 Pandava brothers had adopted disguises and new identities during their stay, and Maharaj Virat didn't know who they were When he finally found out their true identities, Maharaj Virat, who was a great devotee of Krishna, took the opportunity to ask Maharaj Yudhisthira to help him get darshan of Krishna. It was in the middle of the hot summer, so in India, this month is the hot summer. They closed down the Gurukul and everything because it's so hot in Vrindavan. Yudhisthira instructed him that he should organize a boat festival for Krishna. Krishna and his older brother Balaram came there and blessed the king. It is said at that time, Maharaj Virat smeared sandalwood paste on their bodies to help cool them off. In Puri, it is said that the Chandan Yatra festival commemorates the devotion of Maharaj Virat for the Lord. There's a nice painting of Maharaj Virat looking very dapper. And there's Yudhisthira having a disguise as a Brahmin, and the other Pandavas having their disguises. So it is said that in addition to this instruction given by Jagannath to Indradumna, this festival also commemorates, there's the entrance of the temple of Jagannath, the Shinghadwara. And here is, who recognizes this place? Chirakura Gopinath Temple in Ramuna. So at this temple, when Lord Chaitanya was traveling towards Puri, Lord Chaitanya remained here for one night, as he was very eager to receive the remnants of the sweet rice, or kheer, offered to the Gopinath deity. Having heard, this has to do with Chandan, and the use of Chandan on the deity of Gopinath, and they were on Chandan Yatra. Because remember, the hot summer was coming. By the time he got back, it was, guess what day it was? Having heard the narration from his spiritual master, Ishwar Puri, of what had once happened at Ramuna. So what happened at Ramuna was, you know the story, Madhavendra Puri had been requested by his deity Gopal to get chandan and camphor to smear on his body during the hot summer. So here's the quick statement from Chaitanya Charitamrita. Beginning from Madhvacharya down to the spiritual master of Madhavendra Puri, the Acharya named Lakshmipati, there was no realization of devotional service in conjugal love. So Sri Madhavendra Puri introduced the conception of conjugal love for the first time in the Madhvacharya Sampradaya, and this conclusion of the Madhvacharya Sampradaya was revealed by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when he toured South India and met the Tattvavadis who supposedly belonged to the Madhvacharya Sampradaya. I don't know what the supposedly is supposed to mean, but it says supposedly. Prabhupada's writing. So the incident, you know, no harm to narrate quickly. It's 8 minutes after the hour, so I'm going to go quickly. There's a nice painting of Madhavendra Puri during his Paramahansa sannyas period of his life. He was traveling to holy places, observing the austerity of not requesting alms from anyone, but only accepting what anyone gave. Disguised as a local village cowherd boy, Krishna came and brought him a pot of milk. And when Madhavendra Puri saw this beautiful young boy who had approached him and heard his sweet words, he forgot his hunger and thirst. But nonetheless, he gave him a pot of milk, which he drank, and as he was drinking, he experienced ecstasy. And then he could understand intuitively that was not just a local boy. That was Krishna. And in his dream that night, the boy showed Madhavendra Puri the bush where his deity form was held, was placed for safety. I reside in this bush, and because of this I suffer very much from severe cold, rain showers, winds, and scorching heat. Please bring the people of the village and get them to take me out of this bush. Then have them situate me nicely on top of the hill, Govardhan Hill. So he woke up, vividly recalling the dream. In the morning, he went with villagers. They found the deity of Gopal. The deity was cleansed, and there's details and details and details. And find the Anukut. And then day after day, it happened for a month. Villages from different villages and different villages, they performed similar Anukut. Big festival for deity installation. Surpasses anything we're going to do tomorrow. We don't have Govardhan Hill here either. And after some time, the deity then again appeared, the cowherd boy appeared in his dream 2 years later, saying, it's very hot in the summer, summer's coming, please get some camphor and sandalwood to cool my body during the summer. So as he was traveling to get the camphor and sandalwood, he passed through, this is the courtyard of the Ramuna temple. On the far right side is the mandap, where they have kirtan and satsanga and so forth. And the temple is straight ahead. On the altar of the temple is the deity of Gopinath at the center. Later, by the side of Gopinath, Madan Mohan and Govindaji were established. And a little detail is the flute of Gopinath is rectangular. You can see very clearly, because the deity is a bas-relief deity, and the deity is holding a rectangular flute, and so the silver covering is rectangular, not circular. But Madan Mohan and Govindaji have a circular flute. So when he came back to Puri, he stopped by Ramuna. The deity appeared again in his dream and said, just smear the sandalwood on the body of Gopinath, because the body of Gopinath and my body are the same. And, whoops, this is not in proper order. Sorry about that. This is the Kir Gora Gopinath. He desired, on the way down to Puri, he desired the Kir. The Kir was delivered to him, and then he went to Puri. So that's the nice Kir. And while he was asleep, he felt badly that he was thinking about, I got ahead of myself. I need to restructure this. The deity of Gopinath appeared in the pujari's dream, saying, wake up. I stole a pot of sweet rice, or kheer, for Gopinath, for Madhavendra Puri. He's out in the marketplace underneath a tree. Go and get clean. Go to the altar. You didn't notice, but I hid a pot. It's behind my cloth. Take that pot to go to Madhavendra Puri. Note that's Radha Govinda in the painting. But it's not Gopinath. So he found that, much to his amazement, there was the pot of kheer. He went into the marketplace underneath a big banyan tree. This is an actual banyan tree in the marketplace. And he gave the pot to Gopinath, to Madhavendra Puri. Madhavendra Puri drank. The purpose of the drinking, of desiring it, was by tasting it, he could understand the ingredients, the specialness, and then he could make for his deity of Gopal when he returned back to Vrindavan. When he went to Puri, everybody knew about his celebrity. They gave him everything that he needed for the chandan. He went back to Ramuna, and then when the dream came saying, just smear the body, smear my body, smear the body of Gopinath with chandan. And so that's what was done for the whole month and the summer. This is the dream he had. Smear the chandan on my body, there's the chandan. Smeared on the body of Gopinath, Madan Mohan, and Govindaji. I have to restructure the sequence of these slides. So the celebrated part, this is extra, but the celebrated, not a Akshaya Tritiya message, but this is the mantra or prayer to Krishna that Madhavendra Puri recited again and again and again and again and again to enter more deeply into the conjugal love of the gopis towards Krishna. I dina dayadra nata he, mathura nata kadava lokya se, hridayam tvad aloka kataram, dayata vramyati kim karomyaham. And again and again and again he'd recite. O my Lord, O most merciful Master, O Master of Mathura. The mood of gopis feeling separation. When shall I see you again? Because of not seeing you, my agitated heart has become unsteady. O most beloved one, meaning Madhurya Rasa, what shall I do now? Love and separation in the mood of the gopis, given to the world by Madhavendra Puri, passed on to Ishwara Puri, passed on to Mahaprabhu. In the back, he stayed for some time in Ramuna, and this is the Samadhi, where commemorating the place where he stayed in that marketplace area. Here's the deity inside. And now we're going to go to ISKCON deities. The temple in Toronto had named their deities after this pastime, Chirakota Gopinath. Anyone seen these deities in Toronto? Yeah, me too. Very nice deities. Very nice temple. Very nice devotees. And on this Akshaya Tritiya day, many temples Indra. In Vrindavan, they decorate the deity in chandan very nicely. Not only Radha Krishna, Gaurnitai, Krishna Balaram, there's Indra, who personally would get on the altar and decorate the deity with chandan. Here's the devotees on the day before Akshaya Tritiya doing their thing, making mounds and mounds and mounds. And everyone is invited to make, and everyone becomes very enthusiastic to make, even little children. They take all the deity paraphernalia and decorate the deity paraphernalia with chandan. I don't know if Premananda is going to be able to get this together. It's a lot of chandan. They're in India, but let's see what happens. The effulgence around the deity. And in other places, this is Jagannath deities. This is in Sridham Mayapur. And some local temples having the same Chandan Yatra. Now some of us in the room here are from Andhra or know about Andhra, so I spent some time finding out some of the details about the Akshaya Tritiya event, and I got a lot of mixed reports, so I went to the source, and it's similar but different from many of the things I heard in the last couple of days. This is a photograph, or it's a photograph of a painting of the deity that's depicted is inside this mound of Chandan Yatra, Chandan, and the place is Simachalam. Those of you from Andhra, you know where that is. It's not far from Vishakhapatnam. And the deity is formally known as Sri Varaha Lakshmi Nrsimha. Sri Varaha Lakshmi Nrsimha Swami. So here he is, decorated with lots of chandan. And on Akshaya Tritiya day is the one day per year that all the chandan is removed. All the chandan is removed and everyone gets to see his uncovered form. There's some history of Lord Nrsimhadev was angry and his body was hot, so he said, get some chandan to cover my body, and so they started doing that. And the day after Akshaya Tritiya, the pujari, it's a big festival, you can imagine. It's hard to get into where the worship is going on because it's such a popular festival. 120 kgs of chandan are applied the very next day. That's it. See him on one day, that's it. 120 kgs next day. Then these 3 other Purnimas, another 120 kgs, and he stays like that for the rest of the year, covered in chandan. And then on this one day, here he is, his Nija Rupa, his original form, is perceived, or he gives his darshan, Nija Rupa darshan. Here's a close-up. This is the deity, the celebrated deity. And here's the pujari offering abhishek to the deity. So there are many other places in India. Our ISKCON temples, like, this is not an ISKCON temple, the Radha Shamasundara deities in Vrindavan, pictured here, very bright colored chandan. They may put some coloring in the chandan. And I believe this is also the same temple, Shamasundar temple. Here's the Radha Damodar deity. Notice Radharani is also covered. And Vishaka is also covered. Same, Radha Damodar. Now here's a close-up of the decoration of Damodar. In Vrindavan, the Radha Gokulananda deity at the center, and then the larger deity on the right. Radharaman, of course, dapper Radharaman. He's very beautifully decorated. Here's one year. Here's another year. Very nicely decorated with chandan, not on his face, but on his forehead and cheeks. The Radha Madan Mohan deity in Vrindavan. So this is the Pratibhu deity. And here's the deity in Vrindavan, the Imli Tau deity. Radha Madhava in Mayapur, completely decorated in chandan. Similar here. Similar here. And the small festival deities, decorated completely in chandan. Lord Nrsimhadev gets chandan. Different years, he looks a little different with chandan. And here's the Panchatattva deities. Now you can't see so well, so I'm going to give you a close-up, but it's on their foreheads. A special chandan decoration. And Govardhan gets chandan. And Srinachi gets chandan. Govardhan in different places. I don't know where all these places are, but he likes chandan too. Here's the temple in Surat, where Gornitai are also decorated. Same, the deities in Surat. This is the same temple, but now the Chandan is blue. They must have dyed it. In the Durban temple, they cover Radharani also. So we have 7 minutes, but I want to keep the timing. So this is a special day. This gives us a little background on the many, many festivities that are going to be going on today and tomorrow, and our appreciation of how important the day is for Vaishnavas, and particularly our case, Gaudiya Vaishnavas. Very special day. Let's see if there's some discussion. Premananda, your hand was up before I even asked.
So, mine is always practical. I don't have other kind of brain at all.
Oh, you definitely have a different kind of brain. all of what you've done, all of what you've done to make this what it is not just practical. It's practical, but it's not just practical. I could say more. I'll reserve it. Go ahead.
I was thinking, our climate is so cold even at this time of the year. And so, two questions. One is, in some of these deities, you see chandan applied all over their body.
Yes.
And in some cases, it is in the forehead.
Yes.
So, and also the brass deities versus the marble deities. So, in the climate, in this current climatic condition, is it even right to put cold chandan on the deity?
That's a very practical question for sure. But it's a devotional question also, because we do things for the pleasure of the deity, not for our imagination. This deity worship is not my specialty by any means. But just being practical depends on the weather. Some Aprils are like this and some Aprils are like that. So this kind of weather is not chandan weather. Something warm, please. Not something cooling, because it's fun. So it depends on the weather. And decisions can be made according to the weather. Because even chandan on the forehead, it has a cooling effect. That's why Gopal wanted, etc. Or why Nrsingadev wanted, etc. So it depends on the weather. Make decisions based upon weather forecast. And that's not always going to be accurate, but at least you can have an idea of the temperature. What else?
And so that brings to in general, there is like devotees have a tendency to be very creative and wanting to do so many different things.
Yes, different, anything different.
Anything different. And so there is the fact that our attention should stay on the deities and not anything distracting from the deities, and continuing to carry on the service in the most devotional mood, which need to be nurtured and practiced as we go forward. We haven't even begun anything yet. So when so many ideas and so many thoughts, and sometimes whatever discussions we do, it may or may not sit very well with people, because they have their ideas. And so how do you...
You hold your foot down. Because you're the authority. And I would say, when you pass the baton, make sure it's somebody that has the same compass. Knowing the tendency I just this morning heard Prabhupada speaking in Vrindavan about his experience that he gives something and people want to change it. And he was not happy. It's a tendency. So and it's not just be traditional. Some creativity has its place, but there's some things that doesn't have its place. Particularly with deity worship. So you have it and pass it on. So when people don't like, you just smile. You know how to do that. You don't yield. You smile. That's what you do. And we're followers of our founder Acharya who gave the following. You can, if you like, create a little document or have somebody help you that can research. And here's our founder Acharya's statements on innovation and creative ways of deity worship in particular, or temple worship in general. What goes on outside is a little different because we need to be relevant and relatable to people that don't know anything about anything. Models of outreach have become quite creative, which is just fine. And so you have to, or any leader has to be flexible with that, but at the same time hold the line with, and if people don't like it, smile. And we're followers. Here's what our Acharya said. We follow. And they can be not happy, that's okay. You be nice. That's the smile part. Be nice. Respectful. Your enthusiasm is fantastic. Here's what our Acharya gave to us to give direction to our enthusiasm. Please give direction like this. Anything else? Yes?
From the fact that Draupadi's
A
magic,
little further away, it's muffled.
from the fact that Draupadi's magic pot was called Akshaya Patra, it seems the word Akshaya means unlimited.
Unlimited.
So, what is the significance of this Tithi being called, the unlimited? Is it, just unlimited mercy and just?
It's just the nature of the Supreme Lord. Not only mercy, it's just the nature. Is there a limit? No. And so he wants to give, and what's the limit to his giving? There's no limit. So the application of that principle has many, but it's from the Supreme Lord who's unlimited. So the unlimitedness manifests in different ways. And that this day, or Akshaya Tritiya day, has that manifestation. And it's specifically connected to Vishnu, who is unlimited. And he gives unlimited. That's my understanding anyway. Anything else? Online. Okay. We don't want to neglect our online people. Somebody had an online question yesterday. They sent it to me because they wanted an answer.
This is from Dhananjila Prabhu. What should be our prayers on this day?
What should be our prayer? May Lord Vishnu be pleased, because that's what the day is for. I mean, it's not like only that day, but... And then what do we do to please Lord Vishnu? Then we do things that just like Hari Bhakti Vilas. So we'll be doing things, I'm sure, because we're guided by very qualified brahmanas that know Hari Bhakti Vilas, and we'll be doing what Hari Bhakti Vilas says. I mean, that's narrow. In general, the question is what prayer. So may Vishnu be pleased, may Krishna be pleased. So we offer prayers like that. And find your favorite may Vishnu be pleased kind of prayer and pray like that. Srila Prabhupada ki. It's 8:32. We ended